February 8th is gonna be my show. Fuck the show, man.
Jamaine Ortiz sends a serious message to Teofimo Lopez ahead of their fight in February. That's what I want to talk about in this video. We got to talk about it. So let's talk about it. Jamaine Ortiz just posted the video you seen at the beginning of this video. And for starters, we'll talk about what he said. He said, F the showman, because they put like some kind of circus act kind of graphic design to promote this fight. Teofimo considers himself a big showman, and he said, F the showman, basically it's going to be my show February 8th. Now, Ego Weight Watchers, aka ILL, where I give you a look into the fighter lifestyle before, after, and progress picks, especially when they have an upcoming fight. I just told you they're fighting the first week of February, Super Bowl weekend, and you've seen Jamaine Ortiz. Jamaine Ortiz is in crazy shape. He's in crazy shape. Now, this is nothing new. Jamaine Ortiz, he always looks pretty ripped, but the difference that I'm seeing already is I have to see how he looks on the scale the day before the fight, but he looks like this is a better weight class for him. I remember seeing the Lomachenko fight, and I actually thought Jamaine Ortiz beat Lomachenko for the record. But in that Lomachenko fight, what I noticed is Jamaine Ortiz looked big. Like that was one of his first like high-profile fights that got him on some people's radar. And he just looked big in that particular fight. And that was at 135 pounds. He looked bigger than Lomachenko, and he looked to be a big lightweight. So that's literally the first thing that I noticed. Is it looks like he has some good height to him, and he just looked big and real lean. He looked strong, like he looked like he'd be strong for the division. But he had a fight performance. I thought he won versus Lomachenko, but then he fought after that, and one of the fights I believe got canceled because he missed weight, and then he had another fight where his fight, he just looked average. He didn't look like that great. But now with him fighting Teofimo Lopez, he's fighting Teofimo Lopez in a new weight class. Teofimo, as you guys know, decided to move up to 140 pounds. His very first fight was Pedro Campa. Teofimo looked, he looked kind of mid in that particular fight. And then he didn't look great in his next fight with Sandor Martin. But Sandor Martin is the guy that retired Mikey Garcia. He's a bit tricky, and, you know, he dropped Teofimo. I think he dropped him more than once, but they only ruled it as one drop. But if you go watch that fight again, Teofimo really got dropped more than once. So I don't know what was good in the Sandor Martin fight, but I definitely had Teofimo losing in that particular fight. So those were like two mid to not good performances versus, like, I wouldn't say elite competition, but like good competition at best, right? You know what I mean? Like not the top guys in the division. So the thing that's really confusing to me about Teofimo Lopez is he is spotty. This is the type of behavior, because he then goes on to fight Josh Taylor, which was the best fighter that he's fought to this date at 140 pounds. And then it's a demo job, and he destroys Josh Taylor. For me, Josh Taylor was also someone who's big for his division of 140. He had stayed at the division like years after beating Regis Prograis. So I really think Josh Taylor was possibly weight drained in the fight. But that's just my speculation, and you can't take away from Teofimo, because that's boxing for you. No one cares if your camp didn't go well. At the end of the day, it's your job to perform. You sign on the dotted line. You have a date. You have that specific date to showcase all your talent, all your skills, and all your ability. And either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. And for Josh Taylor, unfortunately, he didn't do it. Like, he didn't rise to any type of level. And it was really a shutout by Teofimo. But it's weird. And I've seen this with so many fighters where I don't know what it is about them, but they almost fight to their competition. If they fight someone that you think they should beat on paper and that they would blow out, then those are some of the tougher fights for those said fighters. But then when it's a fight on paper and based on those spotty performances, hit or miss type of performances that you've seen from the fighter, you're like, oh, I don't know. This is a great fight on paper. I'm picking against him. That's exactly what I did. Teofimo was so spotty in other performances like George Kambosos and looking okay versus Pedro Campa and not looking good and getting dropped by Sandor Martin, where when it came time to fight Josh Taylor, I'm like, nah, I got to pick Josh Taylor because he's consistent each time out. And the one time I picked Josh Taylor, he doesn't deliver and he doesn't show the same consistency, nor does he even look like the fighter that he looked like in other fights. So, you know, whatever, luck of the draw. But Teofimo, he's kind of hard to gauge because at the end of the day, Teofimo's performances are really hit or miss. He fights a Lomachenko, a Josh Taylor, who to this day are probably his best resume names, and those are some of his best performances. But then he fights against guys that you think he should easily beat, and he struggles with them, loses to them, like George Kambosos, or he just doesn't look as dazzling as you would expect. Now, I know Teofimo did fight against Jamaine Ortiz in the amateurs. However, I don't know if Teofimo having that backstory and that knowledge of Jamaine Ortiz, I don't know if he would underestimate him just because he has a personal, not vendetta, but he has a personal relationship and having already fought him. So maybe he rises to the occasion or shows exactly what he needs to show in this particular fight. It's really kind of a pick'em fight to me. I could see a scenario where Teofimo wins, but I could also see a scenario where Teofimo loses. And although Teo proved me wrong in the Josh Taylor fight, I can't get past the spotty behavior because you look at guys like Floyd Mayweather, you look at guys like Andre Ward, they consistently, time and time again, for a lot longer a period, like Floyd, a professional, let's say 22 plus years. Andre Ward, since the Olympics, hasn't lost since he's age 12. And I know those are, I guess, anomalies or exceptions to the rule, but those are the standards of fighters that you have to respect because each time out, they give you what you expect from them, right? Other sports, you got Tom Brady's, you got Kobe Bryant, you got Steph Curry. You can't stop them. The best you can do is hope to contain them, you know what I mean? Or stop them for a quarter or for a particular down in football or a particular period or whatever. But that's the best you can do. You can't stop Steph Curry from Stephing and, you know, splashing and shooting threes and shooting your lights out. The best you can do is try to contain it and maybe minimalize it and make it harder for him, things like that. So for me, I always have to go with what I've seen. This is really kind of a pick'em fight to me. Jamaine Ortiz is a big dude. I mean, I guess you could say he's been spotty too because he had the fight where he missed weight and then the fight after that where he didn't look sensational. So I'm really looking forward to this fight. I hope you guys are excited. To me, this is a sleeper hit fight where both guys have a chance to win. And I do like what I'm seeing from Jamaine Ortiz, Ego Weight Watchers. He looks like he's in better shape here. Like, I really think he was depleting his body. He was very dehydrated. And overall, especially as you get older, it just becomes harder and harder to do that time and time again. Eventually, if you do it long enough, like the Errol Spences of the world, your body's going to ultimately reject it fully and completely reject the notion of making this weight, and then it's going to give out on you. Like, and it could be in the fight. For some fighters, I've seen it on the scale where they pass out or they're about to pass out, or people have to hold them up on the scale, or they make weight and then they're looking in bad shape, throwing up or whatever, have to go get sent to the ER in the hospital after the weigh-in. So it takes many effects. I think Jamaine Ortiz can be more effective in this new weight class because from what I've seen in the eye test and the Ego Weight Watchers, I've been doing this for a minute. It was looking like Jamaine Ortiz was struggling. He was really struggling at that 135. So now he's giving his body a break. I got to see how depleted or dehydrated he looks at the weigh-in. Either way, let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Ego Weight Watchers, best in the business, and it's not even close.